Hello. As promised, son, I'm going to give you the upper structure chords. This is something I would have taught you. And in fact, the week before you died, I showed this stuff to you. But we didn't get to get into it very deeply because of heroin. So, if you remember, I gave you these comfort shapes for the G dominant chord, right? And then I put little pyramids on top. So each one of these things got upper structure chords. Here, the first group, right? This chord, etc. You'll see how this works in a second. Here's the next. This is in the past video. So assuming that you got these shapes, now I'm going to create 2, 5, 1, 6s, turnarounds basically, out of these parental top shapes. So let's take just the comfortable position top shape. We'll leave this one out and play it up here, okay? Just because of where it is in terms of it would look like that. So let's start up top. Let's go high. So what we've got here is my D minor, my 2 shape. In this case, it is a D minor. And I've got the 1, the 5, the 6, and the 3. Sometimes I don't play that 6. I'll just play these 3 notes, which is a 1, 5, 3. But it's nice to include this. It's almost really it's a G7 9. You could play it instead of a it's like an inside dominant sound. But let's use it as our 2 chord, right? Because it's a comfortable way to just grab a 2 chord. The arpeggio that goes to this is the F7. So this is a case where we're doing the arpeggios off the 3rd. We said we could do arpeggios off the root, the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th, but it's the one off the 3rd that I find the most, has the most utility and the most sound, because it contains enough of the chord tones and one extension that it really still retains a 2 sound while omitting the 1 for the bass player. So the F major 7, excuse me, and I don't even think of it as an F major 7. I'm just going to say this is in my, like, automatically what I'll play off of that shape. Here's the 5. Okay? Or with that, sometimes you'll see me include that note in there as well. Wes Montgomery liked to play this chord. And I've got the +5, the root, if I want it. But certainly, let's say a 3-note chord would be the +5, the 3, and the 7. And the root in there is cool too. And the shape for the arpeggio is these are all half diminish things, by the way. All of these things sort of relate to the arpeggios or half diminished arpeggios, but without getting too complicated, it's essentially a half diminished arpeggio, a whole step down from the dominant root. So you could think of it as an F half diminished arpeggio. But again, that's like extra brain work, and you have no time for that when you're playing in real time. So the first one, the 2, the 5, so this just becomes my 5, right? And then the 1, beautiful. You've seen this chord many times. That's just an E minor 7 arpeggio, but again, I just think of that as the the tonic sound, and then the sixth chord. In this case, it's an A7 altered sound, and the arpeggio for this is this guy. So I'll play it all together. Here's 2, 5, 1, 6. Okay. D-bo, excuse me, B-bo, 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 2, 5, 1, 6. Okay. Let's move it along. The next is here. All right, really pretty. It's a D minor 9 to G7, right? How the heck is that a G7? I've got the 3rd, I've got the 7, I've got the flat 9, and I got the +5. But the voice leading, it's gorgeous, right? And then here's a major, my C major. How is that a C major? I got the 7, the 5, and the 9. So it's, you know, it's got a couple extension-y vibes there with the no root and no 3rd unless I want it, and I can get it in there, but otherwise I leave that to the melody. So be-bo, be-bo. Sorry, I haven't given you the 6 yet. So the 6, as you notice, is the same shape that I used for a 2 up here, but in this case, remember these all get repurposed. That's the 6. How is it the 6? I've got the +5, the 7, sorry, +5. Oh, sorry, my brain is +5, 7. No, flat 9, +5, 7, 3. Excuse me, I'm groggy. So here's the whole thing. And the arpeggios for this guy, for this one, I screwed that up, right? Let me do it again. Do you see how that's a minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio? A whole step down from the G root? You know, that's how I figured out how to do this. And it's not unique to me. A lot of guitar players do this. The 1 is an E minor 7 arpeggio, and it's right there. All right, very pretty. And then the 6 is here. You've seen all these arpeggios in the previous exercises when we were just doing the arpeggios over the first shapes. They're just repurposed. Okay, so you got 2, 5, 1, 6. Let's go to the next one. There's only going to be 4 of these positions. This is the D, the 2. You've already seen this up here being a C major, but down here is a D minor. All right. 5. You've already seen this. 1. You've seen this as a D9, but down here it's a C major 7 because it has the notes of the C major 7. That's an E minor 7 arpeggio. I just got used to grabbing it. And then the 6th chord, excuse me, 6th chord. This automatically teaches you what a tritone substitution truly is without getting muddled up in complex terms, because I'm essentially playing a an E flat 9 chord to cover the A sound, because it is a altered dominant A sound. It's the A flat 9 +5 sound. but I tend to grab these guys from the top 4 strings. I'll add a couple strings if I want some lower tones, but it's the sort of sweet top that I'm looking for here. You know, and that's giving me beep-bo, beep-bo, 2, 5, 1, 6. Okay? Next one, last one in this group, D minor. See how that's a D minor 9 chord? Without the bass. 3, 7, 9, 5. Look at this voice leading down to the G7 chord. Right, that was an A7 chord before, right? Looks like I don't often play the flat 5 here because it conflicts with the bass player, so I like the top stuff. So 2, 5, 1. This is a basic 6/9 voicing. All right, I've got the 3, the 6, the 9, the 5. And 5. Sorry, 6 chord. And this is the shape that you've seen way up here being a G, right? Down here it's an A. So here are the arpeggios. Well, first the chords. 2, 5, 1, 6. And with the arpeggios, it's right. 5, 1, 6. I love this arpeggio. It's not the easiest to play, but or you know, chordally it can, this little stretch here, but what a gorgeous cluster. Remember the whole arpeggio? You have to recalibrate your brain to think in partials, because you're not going to want to play the whole arpeggio. You won't have time. And it's nice to start in sort of these middle high voicings and play in that area. If you wanted to play lower, remember that was the chord for the 6. 2, 5, 1, 6. It's basically this guy. Notice how the quality, that's the A7 altered with the lower voicing, and here it is with the higher voicing. It's different. It's different. Only because of the way you change the placement of the notes higher or lower can really give a very subtly different, or let me say dramatically different quality to the chord while not changing the chord's functionality, you know, overall. Sorry, I'm playing the wrong. That's the A, and that's the A. That's the A, and that's the A. They all sound really different. All right, so I'm going to do the whole thing. 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, up 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5. Should sing it in tune. 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1, 6. And you can go 1, 6, 2, 5, which is the turnaround. So all of these become, you know, become turnarounds. depending on how you do it. I guess I'm doing, well, I practice them both ways, but they're great captures of 2/5s, and I add the 1/6 just to turn it around. So if you ever want to like build a song based off its 2/5s, now you have them everywhere on the guitar, okay? And I do say, I call this position 1, right? So 2/5/1/6 is my position 1 thought. 2/5/1/6 is my position 2 thought. 2/5/1/6 position 3. 2/5/1/6 position 4. So it gives me, instead of first inversion, second inversion, third inversion, altered, I don't even think of those things anymore. I'm like, what are the chords, and what are what is the group cluster? And Pat Martino has this idea. He's like areas of activity, and it's very similar to that. But the idea of this wasn't shortcut, but was shorthand, like a way to just very quickly be able to have sweet voicings just available immediately. Ooh, missed one. Without much chord changing, which is what's really nice. All right, so that's the 2/5/1/6 chord groups. There's 4 of them on the higher strings. All of this you should do while singing the bass notes, so that you really infuse the bass motion into how they juxtapose against these upper extensions, because that's where the gorgeous tension release happens. And then you do it while playing the arpeggios and singing, which is not that hard to do after a while. You will think of playing a chord and playing an arpeggio as the same thing. And then when you just add a couple of leading tones or enclosures around your arpeggios, you're starting to, like, chromatic connection. You're soloing using this material, and soloing quite efficiently, and landing on chord tones that are very very pretty. That 3, 5, 7, 9 kind of thing for the majors, and the 2s are just really satisfying, and they sound really, really good. It's not the entirety of how a person should play or approach the guitar, or the only thing that you need to know. There's a lot more you need to know, but it gave me the beginning structure for this. I don't want to say mastery, because you can see that I'm still working this stuff, and it isn't like that ever stops. But it does become, instead of like fumbling around and only having 2 or 3 chords in root positions, you start to like really play the inside of the guitar, which was something Ed Deal used to tell me. I shouldn't drop names, but like these inner voices, are really satisfying. So the next thing, what we'll do is the minors. It's the same thing. We'll do minors in 4 positions. Up and down the middle strings, and 4 positions up and down the high strings, 2/5/1 minors, and then we connect them all together into what I call the master exercise, and that's what we're heading towards. Enjoy, son. I wish you were alive.